Yes, I think the easiest way to explain it is it allows you to travel without the physical aspect of traveling. It is a virtual experience.
Welcome to Future Driven. I'm Adam Kopp, and on this podcast, I talk with entrepreneurs and industry professionals about the challenges and the wins in their business. See the vision, drive the future. Okay, welcome to episode 5 of the Future Driven podcast. Today, I'm excited to have Calvin Nellis. We used to work together at Serevi Rugby at the time. How long ago was that, Calvin?
Oh man, I have to say about 8 to 10 years, right?
Has it been that long?
It's been a while.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show today, so thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about your background before we dig into your current job and what you're doing today. So, when you were working at Serevi, because it was Serevi at the time, not Atavis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you were working at Serevi, you were a web developer. So tell us a little bit about your career path from, post-college up until now.
Yeah, so it's actually an interesting story because I remember before I even started at Serevi, I remember messaging you because I was very passionate about both design and rugby. And when I found out that there was a combination of both moving to the Seattle area, I messaged you saying, I'm still in school, I'm interested in internship or any way I can help. Didn't hear back for a while. And then it just so happened that when I was looking for a job, you hit me up, I think it was like Facebook or LinkedIn or something like that. And you said, hey, we're looking for design help. And I said, absolutely. But ever since then, a lot of the work that I did for Serevi was based around, like you said, web development and design. And then from there, I moved to the East Coast where I worked primarily with a public relations firm called the Glover Park Group. And I did a little bit of the same, where we would have these larger clients and build these gigantic campaigns that would involve digital website, graphic, logos, things of that nature. And one of the coolest things I actually designed when I worked for them was, if you've ever been to the DCA airport, they have these really cool rotundas that circulate. I think it's like the one in specific I was in was Terminal A, and I designed that whole terminal for pharma. And it was one of those really cool projects because I had to actually go to the airport and measure everything out. There were these like really random holes around the thing that I had to not put typography on them. It was a cool project, really tedious though. And then after that adventure, I moved on to the government space where I worked as a contractor consultant for a firm called Booz Allen Hamilton. And one of my main contractors was the NIH, or National Institute of Health, where I focused primarily on the UI UX side of things, and then worked there for a good amount of time, and then now transitioned to my current position at Amazon, which is, as you said, UX designer II or 2.
Okay, so your title is UX designer II, not 2.
II2, Roman numerals.
Yeah.
However you want to read it.
I know. I can't be the first one that says that though.
Yeah, I mean, when I first initially applied, I was kind of confused about the leveling as well because when you enter Amazon, they have level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. And then talking with other current designers and previous designers, they were telling me it's really hard to enter in at a level 6. So they wanted to enter me at a level 6, but I'm on the higher tier at a level 5. So that's why they slapped on that UX2, because I'm essentially a senior designer, but I just need to get into that level 6, if that makes sense.
Okay. So you're on the East Coast, you did the PR thing. Did you go overseas as well? Is that what you talked about?
I went overseas, but it was for traveling purposes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you worked over there. Okay. So let's dive into, Amazon, because it's not just Amazon, it's in particular Amazon Explorer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if, I just recently heard about Amazon Explorer because of your one of your posts on LinkedIn, I think it was. And so I went and checked it out and thought it was super interesting. Did it with the family. I don't think I've told you actually. We went and did a tour of a Costa Rica animal habitat because my
Mm.
wife and my kids and I 2 years ago we went and spent a month in Costa Rica. So since 2020 we couldn't travel this year. It was a really cool opportunity to take the kids back, if you will, and we had this really cool 1 hour experience. So can you tell us, what is Amazon Explore?
Yes, I think the easiest way to explain it is it allows you to travel without the physical aspect of traveling. It is a virtual experience for their individualized virtual experiences for what you're interested in. So in your case, you wanted to visit a animal habitat in Costa Rica, but there are a lot of different experiences, such as cooking, such as traveling alongside a small road in France. They have experiences that are based around if you want to go shopping. They have experiences if you just want to have a tour guide and you can tell the tour guide where you want to go within the city. Um, they have uh, they have things where you can just the category of learn and create. So if you're interested in art, they have lessons where you can someone from Spain or Argentina can give you the ability of having a drawing lesson or a painting lesson. Just a broad spectrum of things that you might be interested in um, are available on the platform.
So, and that just launched this year, right? Or has it been around for a little bit?
Yeah, so the beta launched. I believe it's been about a month and a half, 2 months now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, super interesting. So, and one thing is I'm not sure how you would describe it, but we can see them, but the guide or whoever's on the other side cannot see us. So it's one way visual.
That's exactly it. So for now, we have one way video, but things that are being developed in the future have to do with two way. But for now, we're looking what we call a one-to-one experience, which is also known as private, and then also just the one way. So the customer is able to see the host, but the host cannot see the customer. They can only hear the audio of the customer.
Right. And I found it pretty interesting. So I'm curious, you may or may not know, or maybe it differentiates depending on who we're dealing with, but the person that was walking us through this habitat had a device of some sort that they were listening to and or listening to what we were saying, showing the camera. But she had like preloaded videos. So if the animals were not behaving the way that, we wanted them to, for example, because in that scenario, she can only control so much, she would have like preloaded videos of the monkeys doing certain things or the leopard feeding. And so what can you tell us about what that is? Is that just like an interface that they have?
Yeah, so the really cool thing about Amazon Explore is it is not third party dependent. So there are other experiences or platforms out there, such as Airbnb experiences on Zoom, which primarily rely on the Zoom software. But for Amazon Explore, it's software that we built and that we keep in house. Um, so along with the software, each and every individual host is that is part of the software is provided the necessary materials and given thorough training on how to use our software, how to, like you were mentioning, how to upload videos, how to engage with certain content when you're in the experience itself. So when we talk about them being able to preload video, that's something that they were trained on, did beforehand the actual experience started. And then because of the software that we provided them, they are able to easily, give you the content in session to help make it a little bit better experience for the customer.
Cool. Very cool. So when I went on, I think we had to like apply to because of the beta program probably, but then we got approved and then we could cruise through, like you said, we could go to different cities. I mean, there's all the wine tasting, shopping, which obviously connects back to Amazon's model. And then, but I found it pretty interesting that you could also
Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting question. There are no necessary prerequisites for who we're looking for, but in saying that, we are looking for experiences that will delight customers. If you're someone that might own like I don't know, this is just like a small use case, but someone that might own like a small fish shop, and then he wants to take the customers throughout the fish shop. That's great in and of itself, but we may work with that host and say, there might be other things you might be able to do to help delight the customer and make this a great experience. Versus, there are travel agencies and other people that Amazon hook up as the quote unquote entities that have experience in the tourism industry, that have experience on these, either guided or one-on-one tours. And they'll come to us saying, we have this established company. We want to broadcast and, put our brand on Amazon Explore. What do you think? And that's when it becomes a little bit easier for us, because, they're already in the tourism industry. So we basically just give them the necessary steps of 1, 2, 3. They sign up for the platform. We have to give them the training on the Amazon software, the app, and all the products and stuff that we send them. And then they're basically off and running.
And then can they promote it themselves as well, like individually outside of Amazon?
So you mean promote themselves? Do you mean check out our experience on Amazon Explorer?
Yeah, like basically telling people to go there and sign up.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
You guys probably encourage that. And then, but then obviously because of the eyeballs that Amazon has, you're going to naturally, people will stumble upon whatever experience you might have. So like, do you know how many experiences are offered right now?
Last time I checked, it was about 180.
Okay.
That number may fluctuate up and down,
Yep.
but last time I checked, it was on there.
And primarily international experiences, or?
It's a good mixture of both, but I'd say the higher percentage would be on the international soil.
So that people can go travel, do experience. Like one I saw was like experience like a church in Italy or something like that. And you get a tour of that without having to go there. And you get this like customized one-on-one experience that, because what was really cool, going back to my experience was, I think it was like a jaguar or a leopard or something that was pretty playful and active. And so we had some time left. So we said, hey, can you go back to the leopard and check it out? Or, and then she went over to the monkeys to see if we could get them to feed again. So it was very customizable, based on, the host was asking us what we want to see. And because I knew she couldn't see us, I described that, my 7-year-old, my 5-year-old, my 3-year-old are all sitting right in front of the TV. They're watching, so that she knew who her audience was as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I guess there's 2 different points I'd like to make about what makes this platform or service unique. One is that a lot of the experience that we have allow you to shop in session. So what that means is, if you're interested in traveling to France without the physical aspect of it, then you can take an experience where someone might walk you into a boutique store, and you can say, you could actually click on screen. And once you click on screen, it'll show the host, hey, I'm really interested in that blue scarf. The host will show it to you, tell you the material, and then you can check out it. You could check out that scarf in session and then have it sent to you a couple days later. That's one. The second one is, and I don't know if you had a chance to experience it or not, but a lot of the experiences include what's called an experience kit. So when you sign up for it, they send you an experience kit within 2 to 3 business days. And what's in that experience kit is, once you're in the experience going through it, they'll tell you to open up certain boxes during the experience. So if you're 15 minutes in and they're walking you through a market in Kyoto, Japan, and they say, open up box number 1, the box number 1 has to deal with where they are in that moment. And it helps you it helps your senses. It might be, incense that's included in the box. So it
You would,
helps you like, sorry,
you would send the person
Amazon.
boxes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you have that physical touch as well.
Exactly. So it tries to get your senses involved too, not just the visual aspect, but the smell, the touch, the taste. Whatever experience includes what's called an experience kit. It helps you along that process more than visually.
Okay, so then maybe the one that I chose might not have that, and then obviously that's an additional cost, right? Or is that just included in that particular experience?
It's included. So if you go throughout the platform and one of the bullet points says includes experience kit, then that might be an X sum. But once you check out with that X sum, it automatically sends you it. There's no additional cost.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So one of the experiences that has that is, I believe it's called walking throughout. I forgot the specific name, but it's a market in Tokyo. And that was actually one of the first experiences I took when I joined the team, and just everything from their training to the content to how engaging the host was. It was an amazing experience. So I highly recommend that one if you ever have a second chance on taking an experience.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I mean, it was. I mean, one, I was just super interested because it was something new, and it just seems like uh, an interesting way to experience different things without having to. I mean, obviously, you can't replace in person, but for a fraction of the price, you should market in Tokyo. And then
Yeah.
another level, the fact that you guys send things and then it gives you that feeling, that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I think nor do we want to replace the physical aspect of being there, but I think this helps drive the communication and connection, because there might be a point where you doing your experience in Costa Rica, someday you might visit Costa Rica and might go to that same animal habitat, and guess what? You already know the host, and you guys already have that pre-existing built connection. So whatever helps, especially I guess during this time, connect people and give a more collaborative sense of how we can use technology to better help people's sense of communication and connection is what we're aiming for.
Yeah, I do want to mention something on that. But before I ask that, you had mentioned like someone goes into on the 2 points that you made. The first one was like someone enters the shop, check out that blue scarf, they hold it up. Now that product not necessarily on Amazon. That is just a product that host sells, right? So you're saying that you could buy something in whatever shop that host has, and then they pack it up, they send it directly to you, but all the transactions go through Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Correct.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
You could potentially get some one-off, unique things that you wouldn't normally ever have access to, but because of this scenario, yeah, there's a pretty cool promo video for Amazon that explains, or for Amazon Explorer that explains it, which does a really good job with that. And then the thing I wanted to ask you, which made me, when you were talking about this year and COVID and everything, is like, it seemed like such a timely thing to launch this, a couple months now. Obviously, this was in development before that, but any insight on did COVID accelerate this idea? Was it always ready to launch kind of Q2, Q3 of 2020?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a legitimate and good question, because uh, I mean, even outside of this team, a lot of people direct that question towards us, because I joined about three-fourths of the way in, because this product has been in development in the works for the past 4 to 5 years. And the initial team members when I joined, there's about 2 to 3 of them that have been on it since the very beginning. And the very beginning was like the quote unquote trial stages of they tested out what kind of equipment could the host use, like when you talk about walking throughout a city, if they need to hold something up, like if we wanted to give them a backpack to hold something up for them, We thought about all these different use cases of how we can best help the host give a customer a good experience. And then to your point about it being accelerated, when I joined the team, we had these milestones that we had to get to help launch this product, and we didn't launch the beta until, again, like I believe it was like probably 2 months ago. So even during when COVID was happening, or beginning to develop the beginning of this year, probably December, January, February time, this was still in the works. Whether it was pushed to the beta or pushed to accelerate even faster from the beginning. I'm not quite sure because I wasn't part of it, but I could say once I joined, there was a sense of, we have these milestones, we have these dates, we have this schedule. Let's try to see if we can at least push out a beta for customers to actually experience what this offering is.
That's pretty cool. So you joined how long ago?
It'll be about 6 months, 5-6 months now.
Okay, and you're obviously enjoying it.
I am. The reason I enjoy it is because there's a lot of, because this is a new service and we provide our own video streaming software. There's a lot of problems and there's a lot of interesting issues to tackle, and so I'm involved in both of the UX and the quote unquote research side of things. So it's very interesting to think of like all these new concepts that you can't find in a lot of products today, and all like the use cases and questions and things we have from the UX side of things of how to build this new product for the customer.
Nice. So I want to go back to, you had said something about you were troubleshooting like what they would carry and what they would hold and things like that. So what are they holding?
So right now it is the easiest way to say what it is it's a cell phone with a selfie stick, but it's a swivel selfie stick. So the reason why you took your experience and you could see that it was so steady, and it was they would sit there and they would turn it around, and the picture seemed very steady. It's on one of those swivel sticks. So one of the things that we also have to work on from our end is being able to make sure that the video quality and the stabilization of the video is intact for the customer as well, because a lot of the things that trials that we were going for at the beginning is, especially like the tours, is the host had to walk around a lot. And if we just provided them a cell phone with a selfie stick, there was a lot of turbulence involved with that. There was a lot of video shaking, interruptions. We have to think about cell phone connectivity, both on the host and customer side. If either one has relatively slow connection, what does that look like? How do we troubleshoot for it? So yeah, all that stuff kind of intertwined.
The internet access and so obviously you're just using cellular internet to connect everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So from the host side, it's cellular, but right now we're only providing the experience on desktop for customers. But in the future, we're of course thinking about how we can provide the experience on mobile, tablet, make it responsive, etc.
So before we talk to the future, because I'd love for you to give us some insight on what's happening in the future. But how about I become a host and I take people crabbing on Camino Island Saturday mornings. Will that get passed? Will that approve?
Again, like there are no there's no check boxes or prerequisites or requirements to become a host. If you're excited about what you do and you can project that onto the customer or who you might be giving the tour to, I think we're all for it. Like we'll set you up with all the equipment, we'll give you the training, and if you can provide a delightful experience for 30, 45 minutes to an hour, then we're all for it.
That'd be kind of cool, right? I can just imagine I wait till the experience starts. I got the boat already in the water, and we jump on the boat. We zoom out to the pots. We pull the pots up. Sometimes you get 10 in there. Sometimes hopefully you get zero. We'd have to make sure. And then you pull them out, clean them, do the whole thing. And the only thing you can't do is you can't eat them, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But no, but I'm, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you guys looking for things that have transactions involved, or is being just an experience, an interesting experience, okay?
I think being an interesting experience is okay. Like we're not just looking for experiences that involve, any type of conversion or transaction in session. We're just looking for, experiences that our customers would be interested and excited about taking.
Yeah.
So if you want to do an experience of, let's go out and catch crabs and clean them, and that gets the customer excited and they want to book your sessions, then we're all for it.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to check that out because I know you got an application online that I could go fill out. Because I even told a local real estate agent that he should sign up to be a host and to give tours of Camano Island area and the beaches and different things like that. Because up here on Camano, there's not a lot. You can't get access to a lot of the beaches because it's all private. And so he was able to give private tours, if you will, of the surrounding area. And then obviously for him, that would then circle back to him as an agent and how he can, get more leads as a real estate agent. So.
Yeah. It's not just that. It's like also helping the tourism aspect of Camino Island as well, because if people take the experience and they're not necessarily informed or know a lot about Camino Island, and someone gives them a really quick tour of the beaches and how beautiful it is, where they can go, then they'll be a little bit more inclined to, either word of mouth tell people about it or actually visit themselves.
Cool. No, it's pretty cool. Pretty interesting. So, can you tell us anything about like what is to come? Maybe not even particular with Amazon Explorer, but in the industry that we're talking about, what would you classify this as, like virtual experiences, or, how do you classify what Amazon Explorer is?
Yeah, I would say virtual experiences, digital content. Yeah, I guess it could be categorized as that. But to answer your question about what's going on in the future, some of the higher level things I could say is, like I mentioned earlier, is we're looking at making this whole experience responsive, so people can take it on their cell phones, on their tablets, because a lot of the research says, and you're probably familiar with this, a lot of the experiences and people accessing our platform are from a cell phone. So for them to initially look and book on a cell phone and then take the experience on a desktop, is it's good for an immersive experience, but we also want to tackle that those people as well. So if they want to take it on a tablet or mobile, then that's great. Another thing that I mentioned is the one-way versus two-way video. So we're looking at that and trying to see what we can do to help provide that service and make it better for customers. And then a lot of other stuff, a lot of other really exciting stuff that I'm actually currently working on, that I think you should see in the next couple months. So I'll keep you updated once everything starts rolling out. But
like end of 2021, will there be 1,000+ experiences?
That's what we hope for. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you got the beta test out there, so organically people are hearing about it. You must be promoting it, different things like that. But you need the host to apply, because obviously there's some sort of revenue share, right? The host gets paid a certain amount to do this, correct?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what it is like on the business side, but I do know that in order to become a host, you have to be trained, and there has to be hours associated with you becoming a host. So I imagine there's some type of compensation or other things involved regarding that process. But Yeah, I mean, if we have a thousand plus experiences by the end of 2021, that would be amazing because that just means more things for our customers to check out, more things to delight our customers, more things to inevitably experience for yourself. So that would be awesome.
Nice. And I'm not too familiar with the whole infrastructure of all Amazon, but does Amazon Explore fall into a category of other companies? Is it kind of its own kind of category? How does it kind of fit with the rest of the Amazon?
Yeah, so Amazon is basically built out in different orgs or organizations. So once you get into Amazon, it's split up into I guess you can call them teams or orgs, and within certain teams, you'll have a very unique name. And when someone within Amazon or outside of Amazon says, what team do you work for? And you say, I work for X team. It always gives like a hint of like mystery because like you could say I work for Team Madak within Amazon. They're like, well, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And so it's up to your discretion, especially because of the org I'm involved in. It's a little bit more confidential. So when I say I work for X team within Amazon, they're like, well, what does that mean? I was like, well, you use your imagination, I suppose.
Nice. Well, but Amazon Explorer is its own department, has a kind of its own revenue streams and everything that's going through, and so that's pretty cool, man. Pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I remember when I was initially being interviewed for this position, the manager and everybody involved was very high level about everything. They kept on saying, "Oh, we can't tell you what it is. We can't tell you what it is, but all we can say is it's exciting." And I was like, "Well, exciting is somewhat subjective, right? Like someone can look at a bug on the ground and say, like, this is exciting development, but to me, that's just another bug on the ground." So I had a little bit of hesitation before joining, but now that I've actually gone through it and been with the product, not necessarily from A to Z, but more from I guess like D to Z. Well, actually, we're not even at Z yet. We're still in beta. But you know what I'm trying to say. I'm still involved in like the process of something that's just starting up with Amazon. So that's pretty exciting.
Nice. So, what about you personally? What do you see over the next couple of years with Calvin? Kind of where do you see your career going?
Yeah. So along with this project, I'm very interested in AR, VR, and mixed reality. So um, I'm actually taking some classes on the side to help supplement the Unity software, and so I'm very interested in becoming, I guess, what's called a virtual designer. So trying to get into the space of like, designing for augmented, mixed, virtual, all that kind of different space because I think it's just it's a different reality from ourselves, and I think it's really interesting.
Nice. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I plan to be doing this for about the next 30 years or so.
30 years or so. And until you get Joe Rogan on your podcast?
Well, not necessarily the podcast, but but well, no, I mean, I worked for other companies for 18 years before I started Matic. And, I think every entrepreneur, everybody has their own journey. And I needed those 18 years working with other people, working underneath other, CEOs, presidents, and everything to kind of figure out exactly how I wanted to build my company culture, how we wanted to do different things. So, yeah, it's been a really fun journey. And then 4 years ago, as you know, I launched Matic, and it's been a lot of fun, building it from the ground up. I mean, we're just a little itty bitty thing in the grand scheme of things, but it's mine, it's unique, and I got a great team, and so I feel good about that. So
Yeah, I remember even when I was working at Cerevi with you alongside, you're always talking about, potentially starting your own thing. So when I heard about Matic, I was both excited and happy that you took that initial step or leap of faith to start your own thing. Because I know that takes a lot of, courage and guts and, people are scared from the first initial steps, and it seems like a lot of things have been working out for you. So that's really good.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, no, I technically launched Madak in 2006. So I've always kind of had it as my side hustle. And then it wasn't until 2016 that I launched it full time. So,
Yep.
but yeah, no, that's crazy that we've already known each other for, because I've been on Camino for 8 years. So, and if because before we started, we were talking about all the projects that I do up there. So that was in very early stages of all the projects. So
Yeah, so you might have just moved out to Camino then, because it might be just 8 years since we worked at Cerevi together.
yeah,
So that's pretty crazy.
well, I left Cerevi Atavis after 5.5 years. And so they were about 6 years old of a company in 4 years. So that was 10 years ago. So yeah, I'm guessing 8 or 9 years. So somewhere in there.
So can I direct some questions towards you now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, awesome. So what have been the major challenges when you first initially started up Madak, and how have you overcome those challenges?
The first challenge, the biggest challenge I guess that I had was figuring out what part of marketing I wanted to tackle. And I knew that I was, my career being in the creative background, I wanted to, bring that creative element to companies. But because I never really had, web development or the technical side of my career, I always needed support. So I had to kind of start to build a team around that. But the biggest challenge that I had was, what part of marketing did I want to tackle? Because it can be such a broad topic. And honestly, 4 years later, we're still, we've narrowed it, but it still could use some sharpening for sure.
Did you have the clientele and people that you're interested in working alongside with before you started, or is this something that has been continuing and evolutionizing since Madak started?
I mean, I had a network of people that I reached out to right away, but and I had one client that I basically was able to start with right away when I first left. But no, I mean, it was a bit of a leap of faith, because I went from, having a team and driving kind of the overall marketing department to then, having to go out, be more of the business development. And then, because I didn't really know how big of a team or that I wanted to have. Like I knew at first, maybe I thought I would just be like a lone wolf and, kind of come in as a specific consultant, if you will, or creative director for companies. But then as we started going, I was meeting up with a lot of startups. I was meeting up with, people that needed kind of the what I would call a CMO in-house without having to pay for a CMO. So that quickly kind of became our niche of, hey, we'll, sign us on for 6 months or a year. We'll come in, small team at that time, 3 or 4 people. We'll do all the things that you need, and we'll build the websites, the digital ads, all the creative, rebrand, whatever you need, and then we'll hand it off to your in-house team, or we'll help you hire somebody new if that's something that you want. So that was kind of the first 1 to 2 years on how we did it.
And so and I guess this is a question I ask my interviewers when going throughout the process, but if you can go back a couple years before you started Madak, what's one thing that you would tell yourself before stepping out on that ledge and taking that leap?
The one thing that I would tell myself is to really hone in on the main thing that you like to do, and then go after that. And don't try to find things that that you think the client will want, or that you think they need, because you end up, even though you might be able to pull it off, it ends up being harder than the things that you're really good at and you like to do. And, so when I think about Madak, we are a brand development and storytelling agency. So if that's not really what you're looking for, then, if you're not looking for long-term growth and you're looking to build systems, or if you are looking to build systems that will help you long over time, then we're a good fit. But if you're looking for that quick fix or, down and dirty kind of approach, then, there's tons of options out there. So I think and I've learned that over the last couple of years that, when I meet with somebody and we talk about potential work together, I usually can tell right away if I'm going to enjoy working on the project and if I'm going to enjoy working with them. And then, and there's only been a handful that in the past couple of years, but, you can tell that because, everything that we do here is we're not industry specific. It's more about the deliverable specific. So, but I can tell when we get into negotiating if it's the direction that we want to go, and I know we'll be successful, versus like the direction that they want to go, which is completely. That's what they're spending the money. The client needs to know what they want, and it's more of like, if we're a good fit for them.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really strong side of not only a designer but a salesman as well, is being able to walk away. And so I think you can attest to what you've been through with Madak, but especially some of the side things that I've been trying to work on is being able to, like you said, leverage what you can do, what the client wants, and trying to make sure it's a good fit. Because I've been in situations, and you've probably been in situations where the client to clientele relationship is probably one that you can look in the past and say, I probably shouldn't have explored that area. So, yeah.
No, it's always hard because you want to make it work. You want an opportunity, and you end up learning in the bad situations anyways, even if you don't pull it off or you fail or whatever. So you end up, and sometimes you learn that I don't want to get back into that situation. So, that's been a big, but it's difficult because you want to make things work. I find that there's a lot of interesting companies to work with out there, and but I like to find the ones that because it's and one thing for me, because I do most of the, if not all, the business development here, and so then once they come in, we figure out the scope of work. Then I'll hand them off to a strategist, and then that strategist will take the client and run with it with the rest of the team. And so I have to keep that in mind, that just if I got somebody over the line and they sign on, that doesn't mean that the team's going to be happy in the end. And so I've got to make sure that they align with kind of what I'm looking for. And then, when I say what I'm looking for, it's really the whole team, because they're really the ones that are executing on the deliverables and drilling down day to day.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the final thing that I'll kind of say on all that is what I've done, as my creative direction background and everything has been, I want to blend the creativity with the strategy. And strategy is such a wide bucket of, how do you pay somebody for strategy? But man, if you can really identify where you're going, why you're doing it, and what you're trying to pull off, and then combine that with a really good UI UX, someone who's as you are, and that's such a difference, right? Like it's so important, I think, to have a good experience, whether it's website, digital ad, branding, whatever it is. It's such a difference to have that. And so that's where I'm trying to have two worlds combined, with the creativity and the strategy into one experience. So that's why our experiences here at Madak take a little bit longer than normal, because we usually rip everything back and start fresh, down to why are we here, who are you talking to, and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the big stuff that we've been focusing on.
Yeah, and just to add on to that topic, I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed from my transition working in government to working for Amazon is when I was working for the government, I was primarily focused on what exactly the client wanted. But working with Amazon, they are, and you probably heard the term before, customer obsessed. And every single project and everything we do involving Amazon Explore always works backward from the customer. And what that entails is just, doing the research, doing the UI UX, doing everything behind what we can do to make this the most enjoyable experience for the customer. And that's why we work so closely alongside the host. We work so closely alongside, the business, the strategy teams, the marketing teams, because all this kind of flows down to how we can provide a platform and experience that, when it boils down to, people actually want to take. Because if you took that Costa Rica experience and we didn't work backwards from a customer perspective, then all that in-session content, everything that you experienced, everything that you really enjoyed involving that virtual experience, may or may not exist depending on what avenue or what design direction or workflow you go through. So I just thought it was a really interesting perspective to sit there and think about the end user first, and then do whatever you want regarding your design or work process, and work backwards from that. So
No, that's pretty cool. Well, I mean, Amazon as a whole has done a really good job of making the customer experience. So there's no doubt that they would do the same thing in Amazon Explorer. And my first experience was pretty awesome. I've been telling people about it just because I think it's unique. I think it's original, and there's so many ways that you could take it to a smaller scale if you wanted to. But yeah, no, super cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on today and telling us a bit about what you got going on, and let's do this in a year from now when you got 1,000 plus experiences, and you can tell us a little bit more about what's gonna come on.
yeah, that'd be awesome. And then just the last side note, if you want to provide me any feedback or do anything involving your experience with Amazon Explorer, let me know. We actually look at each and every individual survey and things we send out to customers and make sure that things are, even though if you say something the video's off or something very broad, it's always something we look into. So
Cool.
if you have anything that you would like to suggest or just providing overall feedback, it'd be awesome to hear from you.
Well, I want to become a host. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do so I can become a host and then give some people some cool experiences.
Yeah, let me know about that too, because I can direct you to the right people and hopefully make the process for applying a little bit easier.
I like it. I like it. Cool. Calvin Nellis, UX designer, not two, I. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me again.